All right, happy Friday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast coming to you from the Raiderland Worldwide headquarters, brought to you by, in part, Domino's Pizza, Domino's.com. Start the weekend right with some great pizza. Golf USA in Lubbock, Texas, USA. Make your golf game better. They've got all the gear, they've got all of the knowledge and the technology, and they can do instruction as well there. They also can give you great fashion sense. So even if you play bad, you can look good. Our man Stacy Nix and his crew have been doing it darn near 30 years, 30 years now, I think. That's a generation or more in Lubbock, Texas, the best of the best. And all the communications brought to you by United Supermarkets at Market Street, the official supermarket of Raiderland, and the only one that puts their name on stuff at Texas Tech, as opposed to some stores around here that take your money and send it down to Austin. All right, so let's make it happen tonight. Who's going to get in first? It looks like it's going to be James giving us thumb up there on the United Supermarkets chat line. Friday night, you know what to do. Most Texan thing you've done this week. Tech softball rolling last night. Give us your thoughts. What do you think they can do? How good can they be? They sit now in the winners bracket, waiting to see who gets back to them. The Big 12 taking on the SEC and the Big 10 and all the media, not media days, but the conference meetings. Fun to watch this year. And another story this week, Mike Leach now eligible to be voted on into the College Football Hall of Fame as a head coach. We'll explain that. Whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about, you guys jump in tonight. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texas, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt at theraiderland.com. That's where you start your day, the website. Every morning, we got your question of the day. Raiderland hot links, the hottest, freshest links from around the internet. We figure if we like it, you're going to like it. Brought to you, as we said, by Domino's Pizza. Check out the great stuffed crust pizza. They've never had it before. People love it right now. Or you can just do like me and get the thin crust and call it good. Maybe you like the New York style. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Sandwiches, yeah. So what are you doing tomorrow? You're watching Texas softball tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, right? And you can have pizza and sandwiches and pasta and wing and all that stuff thanks to Domino's. And we mentioned Golf USA. You guys know they've been with us for a long time. They are the premier golf shop in Lubbock, Texas, 67th and Indiana. Just drop on by, tell them we said hey. All right, where do we want to start tonight? I don't know how it can get more impressive for Texas Tech softball than to make your debut at the College World Series with a 2-hit shutout, 10 strikeouts, no walks by Nigeri Kennedy. That she's everything and more. That she shows up on the biggest stage of all time in Texas Tech softball history and does that. And you knock off an SEC school, and now you're sitting in the catbird seat. I think I heard the number. I think it's like 80% of all the winners of the College World Series started off 1-0. So doesn't guarantee anything. Doesn't guarantee anything. But that's pretty good. And now you just wait and see who comes back to you in the bracket. So we look at the bracket, and where Texas Tech will play is Saturday night, 6 o'clock. I got to shrink this down a little bit. Sorry. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. So Texas Tech and UCLA, Saturday at 6 o'clock. You win that, and you're hanging around till Monday. And the most important thing about the schedule of the CWS, it allows a pitcher like Nigeri Kennedy to have, if you win, a day of rest in between. I mean, that's golden. That's incredible. And that's how that's how the schools that have dominated Arizona at different times, that's how they've dominated the CWS by the way the schedule is set up. That you get that extra day so you can bring your starter back with max rest from that standpoint. Now, Tech wins Saturday. They don't have to play again until Monday, 7 o'clock. And they would take on, well, it gets a little weird. They flip losers in the bracket. And I'm not going to get into that tonight. A friend of mine asked me, what do you think about the fact that they flip losers and they change the way the bracket goes, they move them up and down? Part of that is because softball, you see the same pitchers over and over, and they're trying to mix up the the matchup a little bit so you're not seeing the same pitcher over and over. It actually helps the better team that your pitcher doesn't get exposed to the same team again and again. It's like seeing a pitcher for the third or fourth time through the order. So that helps the dominant pitchers in softball that way, that you flip that, you make teams come through the losers bracket on a different part of the bracket. And part of it's just, hey, we want different matchups. So that's good. We'll get your thoughts. What impressed you the most? Rate yourself as a softball fan too tonight. On a scale of 1 to 10 right now, where are you as a softball fan? And it's okay to be a bandwagon fan. Every fan base starts off as bandwagon fans. You never grow your fan base if it's not bandwagon fans. So if you are watching tonight and you're a Texas Tech fan and you're a bandwagon softball fan, raise your hand up and say, hey, I'm a bandwagon fan. I'm here for it. I want to learn. I want to do whatever. So I'm kind of curious on where you are as a softball fan. Are you a 2? Are you a 4? Are you a 6, an 8, 7.5? Are you just now getting to it? And that's great. That's okay. I watched in the early 90s the growth of Lady Raider basketball. A good night in the early 90s, earliest of 90s, pre-swoops. If you had 1,000 fans, great night. If you had 700 and we counted the media, we might tell you we had like 850 fans. The fans showed up when the winning began. They were all bandwagon fans. It's okay. So you tell me. James talking, a pitch to contact and a hit location is a winning recipe. Nigel Kennedy could have got out of there last night on like 60 pitches, but she had to throw so many pitches, 102, I think, because they couldn't hit it. So she had to strike everybody out. Come on, put some balls in play. Let the fielders have a chance. Strikeouts are fascist. Ground balls are more democratic. Somebody knows the movie, I have no doubt. Jeff on our YouTube channel. By the way, you guys can watch us on YouTube. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Don't cost nothing. We're cruising up on 500 subscribers. Everybody who watches this tonight, whether you're on YouTube, Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media, and if you're on Twitter, you can get in and fire away your comments and questions right there. Thanks to United Supermarkets. It's easy to do. Facebook. But subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get to 500. It jacks up the algorithm. It's good stuff. New viewer, the games are entertaining, but I'm not watching if Tech isn't playing. That's fine. That's okay. The vast majority of Lady Raider fans, by the way, in the 90s were Lady Raider fans. They weren't fans of women's basketball. They were fans of the Lady Raiders. I know that because I saw what happened in 98. Was it 98 or 97? 98, when Texas Tech hosted a regional, except for one problem. The Lady Raiders didn't quite make it there. Got eliminated by Notre Dame in the second round, hosting a regional, nobody there. Oh, but this was a hotbed for women's basketball. No, it was a hotbed for Lady Raider basketball. And that's the way it was around the country. Bull Durham on the good movie reference right there. Michael jumps in on our YouTube channel as well. Right now, it's Raiderland. Do you see Texas Tech join the SEC or Big Ten in a few years? No, because I don't think there'll be an SEC or a Big Ten in a few years the way we understand it. I think conferences are going to go away at the highest level of college football and men's basketball. It's going to look just like a professional league, NFL. You're going to have, when we say conferences, like conferences in the NFL, AFL, NFC, AFC, NFC. We're going to have divisions. We're not going to have conferences the way you think of it. And that's exactly what needs to happen. It needs to go away that way. So there's not going to be a conference to join the idea that you're saying an SEC or a Big Ten. Love Crash Davis. My family is a solid 10 bandwagon fan. Jump in there, Wendy. We've watched more softball in the last 3 months than we ever have in our life. Loving every minute of it. Go Tech. And see, that's how you grow a sport, grow the game, all those things. That's how you do it. Jeff talking about some of the defense played by the Red Raiders last night. It's really been, I think, in watching this team and paying attention to the smart people, one of the things that got better about this Tech softball team was the defense over the last month and a half, 6 weeks or so, that they have really transformed themselves and taken away outs and helping out Nigeri Kennedy and Rosetta and whoever else might be on the mound. That the defense has been there. One error, I believe, last night by the Rebels. I talked about this on radio on KFYO this morning with Matt and Tom. The pressure that Kennedy puts on the other teams, not just at the plate, but in the field. And I thought we saw that with Florida State in the Super Regional, that they realize that they can't make a single mistake. If they do, Tech might score a run, and that might be one too many. And it makes you make errors when you play tight. And I think that's an impact that Kennedy has on the mound. And I don't know that we necessarily saw it last night, but file it away as we go through. Starter 179. When do you think we will hear about a pitching coach hire? Totally depends. It could be this week, next week, 2 weeks. Is it a coach who is still obviously with an NCAA tournament team going and they don't want to do anything until they're out? I'm not even really interested in this for another couple of weeks. And then, after the regionals, go to the super regionals. And if you hadn't announced anything, then you're going, oh, okay, this could be good. Might be a guy who's coaching a super regional team. So not too concerned about the timeline on that. I would say, where are we sitting here? 30th. Most likely during that week of the 9th of June, going through there. And again, like I said, if not after that, then you're talking about somebody who's busy, most likely. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. We can talk about the Big 12. Brett Yormark, not necessarily firing missiles and salvos at the SEC and the Big Ten, but basically saying, hey, us and everybody else, we're all about the 5+11 for the college football playoff. What's wrong with y'all? Greg Sankey continues to make everybody hate him as commissioner of the SEC, and the SEC coaches, they don't know. 8 games, 9 games, conference. Big Ten, gutless wonders. Patini, the commissioner there, they're just going to do whatever the SEC says. They've got coaches saying, hey, 5-11, we can get behind that. At the end of the day, to me, it doesn't really matter that much because I think it all gets blown up in the next year or so when the TV networks come calling and saying, this is what we want. We want a standalone football deal. How many teams you want? 60-something's good. We'll stretch it out across the country. We'll play games across all of the time zones. It'll be nice. We can do that. Okay, that'll work. What about basketball? Yeah, do the same thing. What about the NCAA basketball tournament? Nobody cares. Everybody talks about, it's all about the small schools. It's not. If you look at the TV ratings, if you look at what happens after the first 4 days, the ratings suck if small schools are in there. Fox knows this. They understand it implicitly. Fox would 100% overpay to get an NCAA basketball tournament involving only the major conference schools, Power 4, whatever you want to call it, and then you can reserve a couple of spots if you want to from, your non-basketball playing conferences. Not many, couple. Don't need many of them because they don't draw eyeballs. I think that's what, pardon me, hold on. I think almost as much as football, what has a lot of the NCAA membership scared is that the truth's beginning to come out about the basketball tournament and that the Power Four is beginning to realize we can run our own and we don't need that. It's going to be just fine and we're going to make a lot of money. When that happens, kiss the NCAA as you know it goodbye. And by the way, kiss the NCAA as you know it goodbye. Most Texan thing you've done this week, and get your comments in. I really thought David Collier would be in by now. He had a good tweet last night. Good tweet, good tweet. Really thought he'd be in. KMEC 28 sports director, who now has the distinction of covering both Texas Tech baseball in the College World Series and the Texas Tech softball team in the College World Series. Pretty impressive, David. Very good. I was wondering if we would have a Dearest Mother video show up this week, but, hadn't happened yet. And before we get out of here tonight, and we may go full distance tonight. It's up to you. Your comments, your questions. Get in on the United Supermarkets chat line. Whether it's Texas Tech softball, how do you rate yourself as a fan? Are you a bandwagon fan, and that's okay? Are you a hardcore fan? College football. We got to talk about Mike Leach now being eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame. So the keepers of the flame said, all right, now no more 60% threshold. We'll drop it down to the Leach rule. Mike Leach is eligible. Does that mean he gets in? Will he get in? Now, you would think, if they fought that hard, different people, different media outlets, different whatever, within college football to say, yeah, we got to do that, they would be automatic that he would get in. Does he get in? I would think so. I think it's the right way to go about it. I think it's the right thing to do because there are a lot of good coaches out there that maybe coached at crappy schools, but it had a huge impact on the game that you just can't put an arbitrary winning percentage number. And then we also had different eras of playing different amount of games, which skews your wins versus winning percentage. We can go the 10, 11, 12, 13, Leach was sometimes playing, 12? He had 2 seasons where there were 12 and maybe a 13. Was 03 the year with 13? There was one year that 13 freaking games. I can't even remember why. Anyhow, does he automatically get in? Does this mean that now that he's eligible, that he'll be voted in? I think he will. If he were alive, he wouldn't. But if he were alive, they wouldn't be changing the number. They wouldn't be changing the percentage. With him being dead, I actually think, this is crass as hell, but it's true, that probably helps him get in. Well, why would that matter? Well, it just does. There were coaches, 2000s, whatever, they didn't really like Mike Leach. And that might be a little strong. Maybe they didn't understand Mike Leach. They didn't get Mike Leach. But there were some that just flat out didn't like him. There were a lot of coaches who didn't like Mike Leach because Mike Leach didn't come up through the traditional route. Mike Leach didn't play college football. Mike Leach went and coached in Finland, and he had a law degree. And you guys know all the backstory and everything else. That there were a lot of guys in the coaching ranks that just looked at him and thought he was squirrely. What the hell is he doing with these wide splits? What's this crazy, passing attack and doing this? And they didn't get it. They didn't like it. He was a threat to a lot of coaches. Now, I think over the years, some of that sentiment has died down and gone away. And in fact, some of the coaches who didn't like him have died and gone away. So you would think with them fighting so hard to change the rules, that it would automatically mean Mike Leach would be voted in, but not so fast, my friend. I will not be surprised if the first year of eligibility or anything else that he doesn't make the vote. I hope he does. I think he should be in there. I think when we talk about halls of fame, that we need to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, are they famous? Well, Mike Leach's pretty famous. Well, what did they do? Well, there are a lot of impacts you can make on the game. You can change the game. Did Mike Leach help change college football with Hal Mumme Lavelle Edwards, Hal Mummy, Mike Leach. Um, you know, yeah. And that's to me what it's kind of all about. Did you have an impact, a major impact on the game that your story should be told in some sort of Hall of Fame, whatever that means anymore? Anymore, I don't even know what the brick and mortar Hall of Fames mean. Kids, they don't care. Nobody goes to them. They're dying. It's a dying deal. That you've got to be at least my age anymore, I think, really to have any respect or just think, oh, a Hall of Fame matters. Now it's just kind of a little, you put it on your Wikipedia page, right? So and so's a Hall of Famer. But I do think that when we look back on the breadth of the career of Mike Leach, he had a massive impact. If no other reason, he had a massive impact on the state of Texas. Before Mike Leach, quarterbacks coming out of the state of Texas had a dead end job when it came to the NFL. It wasn't going to happen because high school programs didn't value passing that much in the state of Texas. I mean, in the 90s, we're still running the bone, we're still running the option. We're running deep eye, stack eye, maybe a little midline eye option type stuff. There was no passing going on. After Mike Leach in the state of Texas, 2003-4, teams are beginning to open up. You see the rise of 7-on-7 passing. You see the rise over the years of quarterbacks coming out of the state of Texas into the NFL. That hadn't happened over 40 years. You go back and look at the number of NFL quarterbacks out of the state of Texas, high school, college ranks. Not very many. 70s, 80s, 90s, there weren't that many. Mike Leach really changed that trajectory in making it okay as a high school coach in Texas to spread it out and throw it around. Hold on, you mean we don't have to be like Darrell Royal anymore and say when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad? No. That impact alone changed the trajectory of Texas high school football, thus Texas college football, thus the NFL. I'd put him in for that alone. All right, a couple more minutes left. It's Friday, I know. It's summer, I know. Everybody wants to get out and do stuff. I'm just glad you guys are hanging out with us tonight. Most Texan thing you have done this week, whatever that may be. How do you rate yourself as a Texas Tech softball fan? Your thoughts on Mike Leach, College Football Hall of Fame. Your thoughts on the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, all of the college meetings going on and what may or may not happen there. I don't know. Big 12 baseball today. How are we doing? Hold on a second. Before we get out of here on that, show me some scores. Got the live scores right now. I'm looking. Kansas State, UTSA, bottom of the second, just underway in Austin. 1-0 USTA or UTSA. Cincinnati beat Wake Forest 11-6. They're in Knoxville. Bombs away, Cincinnati. Good job. East Carolina beat the hell out of Florida today, 11-6. Tell me more about the SEC. North Carolina, who obviously Tech played to start the season, won 4-0 against Holy Cross there in Chapel Hill. Texas beat Houston Christian today 7-1. West Virginia wins against Kentucky. Tell me more about the SEC. They're at the Clemson Regional, 4-3. Arkansas did beat North Dakota State 6-2. TCU got bombed in Corvallis in the early start today, 13-1 by USC. TCU, what are you doing? You're embarrassing us all tonight. Arizona wins 3-2 over Cal Poly. That's at the Eugene Regional. Again, an early start. And then coming up later on tonight, you have Oklahoma State and Duke at 7:50. I bet that's 6:50. I bet that's starting right about now. Kansas and Creighton at 8 o'clock. Fayetteville Regional. I bet that's 7. I think these are Eastern times I'm looking at. I feel like we're missing a couple of Big 12 teams. Where are we? Come on now. I thought we had one more Big 12 school left. Do we not? That's all of them? Oh, Arizona State. There it is. Arizona State They're at UCLA tonight against UC Irvine. So that's Arizona State against a UC Irvine team that Texas Tech played early go. Not a bad start to the day for the Big 12. We'll see how it goes the rest of the way. Your chance, last chance. Get your comments, questions in. We will perhaps do a diamond talk tomorrow night after Texas Tech and UCLA wrap up if everything is on schedule. Otherwise, probably a Sunday show is what I'm guessing as we go through. It'll probably be a Sunday show as we do it. And I know we've got a bunch of comments that have just come across. And I apologize. You guys have been commenting. I didn't see it. All right. Here we go. I'll get a Big Ten tattoo if Tech goes to the Big Ten. I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. Starter 179 Sankey is making $10 million a year to be a commissioner. I doubt he's going to let conference cease to exist without a fight. He'll get his money. He'll get paid. The conferences will roll into like an NFL commissioner type deal. Don't worry. He's going to get paid. Missed the softball rewind last night after the game. No, you didn't. We didn't do one. It was late after the game. After the delay, we did not have a rewind after the game. The slap hit to third. The short hop was a great out. Hot corner is the bravest on the field, says James. Leach has to be in. The impact he had in college and pro game is inarguable. If he gets into the College Football Hall of Fame, does Tech put him into the Ring of Honor? Yeah, probably. I think he'll probably be in there at some point. Maybe. I think Leach has earned his entry. His style of offense changed the game as we know it. Why would they change it if it wasn't for him? He definitely changed the game. No, I'm saying that's the deal, that the people, the electors wanted to at least have him on the ballot. Does that guarantee that people will vote for him? Not necessarily. It's like Pete Rose. You can have him on the ballot. Does that mean that they will vote for Pete Rose to get in? Now I think Mike will get in. A few administrators didn't like him either, but he transformed the game. He should get in. I think he will. Most Texan thing was grumble about my DFW commutes. It's your fault for living in DFW, man. Jackie Sherrill is now eligible under the Leach rule. Tacky Jackie. The original $1 million coach coming from Pitt down to Texas A&M. The Aggies brought him in there for $1 million. And got him on probation. Well, they did play in the Cotton Bowl a couple of times, but yeah, tacky Jackie. And where's the irony right there that Jackie Sherrill also becomes eligible as a guy who finishes his career after making most of his career someplace else at Mississippi State. He's in the Hall of Honor, the Ring of Honor around the stadium, the Hall of Honor, the Hall of Fame, all different things. That's the problem Tech's got going on. You got Hall of Honor, Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, this, that. Got too much stuff going on. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Honor. That was that last year or 2 years ago where they put him in the Hall of Honor? Ring of Honor is when they stick your name up there on the stadium and whatnot. Thank God Spike recruited Kingsbury, the pride of New Braunfels, and let him sling it against OU. Leach saw a star that day. The rest is history. There was a lot going on that November 20th or whatever it was. Leach on one sideline, Spike getting carried off the field, Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know what I'm doing here. Also, the Lady Raiders opened up the United Spirit Arena, United Supermarkets Arena that day. There's stuff going on. Busy little historical weekend. All right, y'all did pretty good. We're going to shut it down for a Friday night. Back with you tomorrow. We will have our column tomorrow, the Saturday column with no name, so we'll have that for you. I ask you to do one thing tonight. Hey, share this with your friends. Put it on your social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, and otherwise. Everybody watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drive us over 500. It don't cost nothing. You don't even have to watch it there. You can watch it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever you like. We get over 500, it just boom, changes the algorithm. You guys are the best. We enjoyed it. Have a great Friday night. Be safe. I intend to eat some pizza rolls tonight. Pizza rolls. And I intend to eat them. See you tomorrow.